maybe ashing that would have immediately ended that turn, but that is not what happened. And now you might be thinking at home, oh no, the first match was over after 4 minutes. What if the second one is as quick? Are we not going to have any more content now for round one? False. False. We have a backup featured match now here in Europe as well. We found some nice spice for you guys. So
we appreciate also the mind games between the players because as we saw right now that they're siding. Esteban was thinking about the Lancia.
Yeah.
So one logical assumption is that when your opponent scoops before revealing any cards, he's probably into Malice in order to avoid the potential Lancia. So there's a logical assumption to side in Lancia.
All right, y'all. This is like the first match of the qualifier. And I don't know how long I want to stay up and watch this, but yeah.
On the current meta state, it's better to take a couple and siding Lancia since you have already won.
I would probably, I can see that. I think siding Lancia is probably a good call, but I don't think
we'll watch it for a little while.
Necessarily a sign of them being on Malice, to be honest. But I do think probably blindly siding in Malice also depends on deck size, of course. I'm not siding in blindly my Lancias against a 60 card deck, for example. I would try to not do that, but I think against a close to 40 or 40 card deck, I could definitely. I think versus 60 cards, I would side in Lancia. Why?
Because it will be probably a pile of graveyard banks in
I mean, could be up to the
So they want round one of this match.
Maybe also Verizon.
Round two.
Verizon is my favorite deck. What are you talking about? Yeah, how's it faring against Steelers? Yeah, but maybe that's an earlier round. That's a sign for Branded or Lightsworn. Yeah, without Fairy Tale Snow. To be honest, there's not too much benefit.
Cállate. Quiet.
Yeah, exactly. You can't banish Mizuki and the Lancia. You have a grass looks indeed very green. There is no Lancia around. But yeah, I mean, those decks, of course, are the more conventional decks right now that I would say. We see the Risey deck, we see the Malice deck throughout yesterday as well the entire time, but we will definitely make sure that throughout the coverage of
so this is the second night.
Show you a lot of those other very, very cool decks. And I mean, we already checked out a couple of players here with the deck list and everything, and there is some really, really, really cool things going on, and we are making sure that everyone at home is also going to see that. That you're not only going to see Malice from the entire day, because yesterday we had so much Malice in the top 16 playoff. There was a time in this format where people said, yeah, I think Malice has finally fallen off, hasn't really won a tournament so far. People have those cards that just stop the deck from playing at all. And now it's just back everywhere. It's insane.
Yeah, because people stop respecting so much, cutting Chaos Thunder, cutting
Y'all gotta behave.
Malice became again one of the best decks. So when people disrespect it, always will be on the side.
We won't disrespect it, and he's over as well because the players are ready. So let's get into game.
Game two. Night two.
Julian, as a fellow Frenchman, of course.
All right, here we go. Let's see what we're going to do.
Players that made it yesterday wants to follow Damien.
See what's going to happen, y'all.
Also qualify with the same down to the World Championship, but let's see whether Ethan is able to overcome Esteban on the first round. And you get through Jesse. And again, I'm down by my call. I think Jesse Cat is one of the best of the Malice monsters, but there
Wallows, they're going to draw.
Immediately.
That is if they special summons deck or extra deck.
Ooh, and we even see
Oh, then you're going to imperm? Okay, that's crazy. Because we're playing Malice.
Well, it's good to know that Fulham's result. I can see
Wonder what deck we're playing
Jesse
against.
Cat doesn't play on its own.
Hey, Raziel's.
Having Jesse Cat with no
Yep,
other Malice.
Dormants.
You want to just immediately
That,
go to
special summons pay 300.
from hand. So I can see why this will
Vanishes another Malice.
Not only
I'm sorry, guys. I'm very influential, so we want to go.
Cheska
or cross out or pull back grade. I mean, we activate the infinite remnants on it anyway, so that's never going to happen.
So we got a Malice lineup. Malice is mainly being played like all around right now.
If he has break, and he will go with for bestial plays to get an extra draw.
Very smart choice there indeed, but also already down to 3 cards here, even if that is only a
Already going to link 3.
Something that is really decimated to not give too many draws.
Red
It
some.
might be hard to play through that, especially since we've seen how many hand traps Malice player are playing. Julian just immediately
He
go
had
like,
draw because of
yes, I want to
Fualos.
proceed. I want to activate the red ransom.
And we do have the GWC
Yep.
set there as
Go
well,
mirror.
being another believer in that card. And yesterday has proven those believers that you should be deciding to run Melis C GWC 06 in your deck. And there's also Melis in the Burrow, which is now already a pretty good setup. We don't have that many monsters on our field.
Melis in the Burrow is also a debated card.
Very
Like
influential
example,
with this deck.
Magic yesterday.
Only cards that don't have is not a Master Duel right now. Is
Setting
the
3 cards, I think that is basically the most
backup,
normal start versus
Igniter and
this
Wizard
deck.
Igniter.
There with the red red.
Those two are what keeps this deck rolling.
Before, sometimes you really want to have access to your
Very
White
much
Binder.
so.
I don't think that's the case for this one because, I mean, White Binder versus the Advisor.
If y'all want to come in and join, watch us live here, then
Raziel,
come in and grab some
Julian,
popcorn and
probably
get back your
with
feet
Burrow there,
relaxed.
yep. Making sure that doesn't resolve. Also, very, very smart play by Julian.
Vanish,
Playing
Red
around with
Ransom
you
right
on
off the
the
bat.
beat on his
Okay.
Just going for 4 summons. That was really, really smart.
Hey, 900.
That is all right setup. With
Are you gonna activate it?
I think that was very, very well done
900.
by Julian. I mean, we knew the Melis in the middle.
900
We
for the
know
links.
GWC, so there's only one unknown set card left. And we know how well the Rising strategy can extend.
300 for the
when there's
monster,
only
900 for the
Rising
links.
monster already on the field. This could mean Sword, Axe, all of them waiting, and then also the Ono mod cards. That could be wild.
And I don't think that the hand of Esteban looks too good. I think he really wanted this Ice Raziel to resolve.
All right,
there's
there's
Sword
Raziel.
Raziel.
All right, I think that will do.
Didn't see that one.
That's a sufficient one to follow it up with. And Julian, does he have another answer to this? We know they're now playing Infinite Provinces again, and he is as well, and that is stopping the Sword Raziel. But still, you gotta realize there is now 2 level 4 monsters on the field. And that is
Yes, sir. Time to go to
okay.
exit summons.
Drake now too.
Or you can link
Before
summons.
Esteban even has a chance to
What
go
are they
to
going to
extra,
do?
we want to have another answer ready with that ball Drake. Still combined with Malice.
What are they going to do? So we got Raziel versus Melis. So, Boldrake. Okay.
That's true. Boldrake is also like an extra interruption on the field.
He's getting ready for their special
I
summons.
thought I saw
Okay.
a call by the Grave Festival, but then also the GWC setup already from Julian just prevents call by the Grave basically negated here. And you wouldn't summon the Bestial Boldrake then, which can make a difference after all. But now I'm gonna get access to MTP.
No, GWC, that's why he didn't activate Call by the Grave, because Julian wouldn't just activate GWC, bringing back White Rabbit.
But then at least
Oh,
the
shoot.
Boldrake is
Yeah, I don't know how long we're going to be on here tonight, but
interruption, you can just trigger
We'll
the
see.
vanishing monster summon from
I
there.
need to bring my charger in here and keep it fully charged.
We
But
have too many monsters that activate their effects on summon, so Boldrake is a huge interruption there. That one, however, is really, really strong here if you don't have a hard negate.
That's massive, and I mean, it has been like that since the beginning of days, where this rivalry between Raziel and Melis came up. That this card into a full Melis field is massive, and you can see Julian struggling, looking through his cards in the graveyard. Sure, you might activate the Lucia Boldrake as well, but the rest of the field will probably leave alongside this. We chain the GWC. Okay, all right, we can protect some of our field now with that in the end, but this is still massive. Oh wait.
Wait.
this is how bad these decks are. They're
MTP.
damn near impossible to stop. But
follow up, but then.
Oh wait, no. Oh wait. I think we're protecting.
I kind of know how to stop Melissa's first play, but
once the point of this card cannot be destroyed by card effects, so this is kind of a smart move
Raziel,
for Julian there.
you got Mitsurugi with
Protecting the
Raziel.
red ransom there.
But I mean, the Red Ransom doesn't do
Dang.
anything. MTP would have given us a March here, which is tremendous follow-up.
Raziel's is coming to Master Duel, y'all.
That's true. But Dormos can still be take over.
Indeed. So Julian valued that red ransom very, very highly. He still has plenty of cards in hand, so I mean, it will get back over to him. So the situation for Julian isn't horrible. And Esteban also, oh look, he doesn't have much left in his tank either. So he's setting one card, and he's probably going to pass it over back to Julian. Yes, that is what's going to happen. So, I mean, starting your turn with a red ransom, I can see it. And he has also followed from the end of red ransom that added to Malice on the ground. Indeed.
That is true.
All right, draws another card.
Wow, this is a mistaken arrest. Or Shat, right? I can never tell these two apart.
He's taking an arrest.
Yeah. So we have Malice in the mirror in the graveyard as well. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's in the deck or if it's
in the graveyard with Malice and Numera, but this is just even.
This is actually going on right now. This is
I think that Julian is
Berlin.
very much
Yeah.
looking forward to ending the game this turn. Doesn't want to waste any further time here as well.
And then Esteban, of course, immediately forced to do something about this. Call by the Grave is being used on the Red Ransom. That's massive because I think that's the only Link monster available in the graveyard right now because on turn 1, Julian played through footballers and now all of a sudden X is
that don't matter with my list.
No monster to banish besides itself, but also no other one to destroy either. Yeah, exactly. So that is sort of funny.
List gets banished, they pay life points, you can summon them out.
One thing Julian will have to really pay attention to now is to again not play into the Year of the Primal Being, but he also doesn't need that much damage anymore, to be fair.
But I think that X is
Chain Link 1, is he going to Chain Link 2?
Because you can only activate the Call by the Grave on the resolution of the effect to gain attack points, but still, that means we need only 2,700 attack points now.
Very good point.
So you can easily do that by just going Dormouse bring out another Malice monster, and that's already enough, isn't it?
Yeah, you can just go Crypto.
I mean, when you go Crypto, you're already up to 5 summons then, though.
That is true.
So I feel like March here is decently big with also the boost of. Could that be enough? I think this, like all the small Malice monsters just together might be able to just.
Come on, you know the right play. You know you want to go into white binder.
Follow-up is not particularly good anymore because usually the Malice they can play through the Nibiru really well, but here you really want to be careful about it.
I think that as you have the Marcher, I think there is a really good chance that you're trying to play
This is 4, Leo. We go to summon 5 times.
I mean, this is not enough.
This is huge risk, Leo.
It is enough because every Malice must gains 600.
That's what.
He has it, and Julian has barely anything left.
That's what I would do.
Wow.
I've done that too.
Has that card that he needed exactly there.
I think he did have to go for a completely different route here. I think you have to go Access Code Talker into Splash Mage with the Dormouse and then try to play for some more resources like a White Binder and set up more cards just to play around the debut.
To be honest, proper play might be actually normal summon the Jessica and go not to Access Code but to Splash Mage in order to go for White Binder and try to reset the trap cards.
Are we really going to win with a freaking beer? Come on, man.
The Call by the Grave was kind of a punish for it, to be honest, but you can't know that. Also, going second Called by the Grave is not always a card that is being still in the deck.
Yeah, but you know that it's not in the name because it wouldn't be set.
That is true. But I think just summoning the Marcher and banishing something from the graveyard, that was not the correct play. I think he should have gone for something.
Does Esteban have another starter? Is it finally time to reveal some of his own cards? Maybe, it's X-Guys, but it cannot search. It will not be able to search, but Valen is able to go after the set card. New card.
Dang.
But surely we do change something to that. Yes, it is the mistaken arrest.
It's a good force out here because you couldn't search anyway. I think that we still have the. Is it the Zubababa Bancho Gagaga code or is it the Go Dwarf?
Yeah, the right hand. Both decks are freaking awesome. Like they keep rolling and rolling and rolling. And when I say they're bad decks, that's what I mean by bad decks. Right? They're awesome.
Right now, so you can go into Detonator.
I mean, still, you probably just go into something that deals with the token, and then you're already in a very good position because you need to deal with that token.
The token has barely any defense.
Does it? I mean, it was
Access Code Talker plus 3 Malice names.
Yeah, 3 Malice names. You say that so lightly.
I did over in the mirror.
I believe because Dormouse has
300.
Oh, it has 300 people. Okay. Jessica has 3. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're totally right. It's not that much, really. I thought it's more to worry about, but then it's actually okay.
I think. What are you going into? Rafflesia might be a card that you want to summon here. Even don't know if it does that much. That is the gloves.
I mean, you could go Guska. You could go Guska, but you could also what's funny, a card we haven't seen much anymore. It's like Gusto Emerald, maybe?
Yeah, but you are mistaken. Oh, you can draw on a mistake.
Man, they've already been at this match about a half hour now.
I mean, you need to target 2 monsters in your graveyard.
Holy
you
crap.
have 3 monsters in your graveyard, so I like that option, possibly. And look, Esteban had it on top of his extra deck there, was considering it, but no, Trap Trickster of Frisia is the option instead. That one summon that Julian went into, the fifth summon that he needed to go for game, was the one that punished him too much. Sets one card and passes it back over.
Now the thing is, by Rafflesia, yes, you are playing around, I don't know, Marcher top deck. The other cards also doesn't do too much.
You have Malice the Mirror in the graveyard, so a potential banish from Marcher could be to banish Malice the Mirror, so you can have an additional. Yeah, right now, of course, I was looking for the previous play.
Of course, I'll bring it back.
Oh, that is Druid's that is massive, but their Traptic Rafflesia is amazing against. But if we had gone for Dagusto Emerald before, do we even have Gravedigger's Trapple in our deck? I would assume so if we just go Rafflesia, because the Ryziel hole, Plasma hole doesn't do anything.
Oh, did Esteban even allow that? Yeah, I was about to say, like, Julian immediately just made it happen, but Esteban is like, not so fast. Or do we just Plasma hole? There's no way. Yeah, we just say Gravedigger's Trapple, and that is going to mean the... Oh, wait, yeah, the Dormouse will never be banished here.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Oh, it also negates Banish monsters effects. So we let the Druid's resolve here.
Honestly, I did never know. It's called Gravedigger's Trapple, so I would imagine it's only the graveyard.
That also hand, you know.
yeah, true, fair. You're making a point there, I'll have to admit.
So the point
dang, he's already like 900 lot points.
The effect of the Dormouse is because does only negate and does not destroy the monster. So Druid will stay still on the hand.
Yeah. Raziel.
I know you were really a fan of this card the first time you saw it. Of course, not the original one, but the Go Goblinberg. And that is just a lot of attack points now there, and enough of them to make sure that Esteban Rey is not only our reigning European champion, but also wins round number 1 to start comfortably into this year's tournament as well.
Nibiru just did a lot of work there, huh? It was, even though I think with Duisburg, you could have maybe sent a card to the graveyard from the field there to prevent some more damage, but the whole Malice combo, the effects of special summoning them back, just it costs you. It costs you.
It really does. So, Onomad Ryziel being the winner here. Yesterday they couldn't beat the Malice strategy, but now Esteban shows that it definitely still is possible, and therefore I'm curious how this is going to develop here this weekend for the top cut, because he said for quite some time in the national season actually we saw that Malice fell off a little bit actually, and therefore actually at German nationals, for example, I feel like there was very little Malice in Top Cut, and some people were even starting to say, hey, when did we ever think that Mitsurugi Rising was not a better deck than Malice? And now we look at the playoff yesterday, and we look at NAWCQ stats, and all of a sudden Malice is really back into that driving seat.
It felt like there was absolutely no Rising on Mitsurugi yesterday. Yeah. We've barely seen any Habakiri startup or combos.
Exactly.
Even though I still think that the Mitsurugi engine is the best engine in the game right now. It is just so incredibly strong, and there's barely any engine. I mean, Malice can contest that, I think, but that plays through fields on its own right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing about the playoffs, that players can adapt to it and see how the meta changes, and choose maybe a last change minutes to their strategy.
There was also no Drone Lockbird mains yesterday.
Yeah. It's actually, it's so sweet to see how the format just keeps on developing, right? Like going back, going forth, and as you said, like people are just starting to cut Chaos Hunters and Meows, and therefore Malice just coming back to the spotlight. It just always is influencing each other's decision and each other's performances overall, like the way people are building the decks. But also, one quick thing, I think we will have to look back at the prices for this main event again, because there was a little bit of a mistake, and we shall now look at the right pricing. So let's go ahead and see that graphic real quick here again to be sure that we present you the right prices here for our prestigious main event of the European Championship here. And yeah, let's have a quick look at that.
I will be honest, I could just go with a World Championship qualifier.
Ooh, of course, it is the 512 gigabyte Steam Deck OLED instead of the Switch. That is what we're getting.
And it's Supreme Darkness of the Alliance inside.
Oh, of course. That's even better than that. Nice.
So we'll get some quarter century secret rare cards there. Ooh. And no Starlight rares as well.
Yes, no, they do get. It's not including quarter century secret rares.
Okay. So they don't get that. All right. There's also a Steam Deck OLED for the second place there as
Oh, wow.
Very, very nice. Very nice. Very cool indeed. But of course, still the most important thing that stays is that invite to the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG World Championship. The one thing that every player is dreaming of, going to the World Championship once in your life even, is something that is so absolutely amazing. Esteban Rey has already done that once in his lifetime by being our champion from last year, but now he won round 1 feature match as well, and therefore we want to hear it from Esteban and Alberto in the LS's corner.
Thanks so much, Seb. I'm here with Esteban, the current European champion. Congratulations for winning round 1. How does it feel to come back in the same venue 1 year after?
It's very. I have happy for the tournament. I happy to prove to win another time the European Championship. I very excited and so much stressed.
I can imagine coming back to that table. It was
very stressed but I'm excited.
no, especially because entering in a field like this, more than 2,100 players. Of course, it's something to be proud of, to be the current European champion. And I wanted to ask you, why did you choose Rizal for the event?
All decks. I don't like all decks in this format, and the most. Not easily, but
Consistent.
yes, it's not easy, but I can prove to play the hands not to break the deck for this. But I don't like, but I prefer these all other decks.
Especially because I don't know if you managed to saw yesterday there were a lot of Malice decks.
Yes.
So I think you're also well prepared.
I prefer all decks, and I prefer these for many reasons.
Okay. And so let's talk about the game quickly. It was a 2-0 victory, so of course also for you it feels, entering to the tournament with a 1-0 victory it's always good. So I want to show you the first highlight, because essentially he didn't activate any hand traps, but you can see he had an Ash Blossom. So do you think he was keeping it for a specific because he didn't activate it at all?
I when I played in Rizal, I think always draw, because I suffer so much draw. And the first play I wanted to do Rafflesia, because I broke it with one hand drop, and I can play him versus all one hand drop in this one hand drop monster in this game, and now and then I can put my field, and I can protect another time my bird versus another enter.
Yeah, and I think here the ending field it's huge, because essentially here we can see that you have Rafflesia, the duo drive, and the Detonator plus the cross, which is insane. And I think he also makes sense, because from his side it just picks another Ash Blossom, and he says, maybe I've seen enough, which I think makes a lot of sense. And how do you approach game 2, not knowing what your opponent is playing?
The first question is how many cards do you play? 30 is or Mitsurugi or no Mitsurugi or Malice or Vanquish, and I see that between two decks, I put only 3 cards. Can I play versus Vanquish and Malice? And I prove this.
And in general, so you do not side Lancia blind?
No.
Okay, that's fine. So that's for going into game 2. Here there's something which I don't know if Julian was expecting, because there's the Accident Knight being summoned. And I think here he also played well, because essentially just protected the red ransom. But I mean, I don't think he could have pretended to.
I don't. I think if I have only one play, and my opponent have the trap.
Yeah.
If I prove to play Marianta, my opponent block me with the trap. And I have an Nibiru and Colored. I prove to destroy all field and set up me for another time, another turn.
And here we can see that in a second, essentially here is forced to summon the 5th monster. And I think you were waiting for this moment, because the Nibiru here essentially is just coming on play, and you essentially swipe all this field, and the next move you make is just enter battle phase because he has the mistaken arrest. And I think it makes a lot of sense for you to summon the Rafflesia.
I think the first move, I think it is to prove to draw with an Emerald. But if I don't draw an Entrop and my opponent draw a started, I will lose. And I prefer to block it with Xyz, and I prove to draw another start. I win with this move.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because then for the next and last highlight, I just want to show you this one. Essentially, the moment Drew's War comes and there's the Great Digger Trap.
Now I mistake because I must detach the monster,
Yeah.
and I for the like overthinking the move of my opponent for the fact, and I mistake the
dash, yeah.
I know when I draw the card, my opponent finish the trap malice,
Yeah.
and I know I will win with attack.
Yes, exactly. I mean, anyways, I think you brought it home, so you started things off very well here at this European Championship. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully, we will see you again on stream during the weekend. Best of luck.
Meet you.
Best of luck, and thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't go anywhere because we will be back soon with more content for the European Championship qualifier. Keep watching.
That would be the one I want. Really?
Welcome back to WCQ 2025 in Berlin. I'm here with Tom to talk to you guys about, well, a different way of playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is just as popular as the main event, and that is our most popular public event, Ultimate Time Wizard. In particular, as for the last events, it's going to be 2010, and we thought it would be a good idea to discuss just what the format looked like, and what are some of the decks that we could expect to win these events that have been, gathering players from all over Europe, if not the world at times. So it's definitely something that has received also a lot of support. We had some important reprints in Quarter Century Stampede, and I would say we can just start from the top contenders. Who do we think could just take the event by storm?
Well, the top contenders, in my mind, has to be something to do with Black Wings. So we have two different ways to play Black Wings, and then people play it in a lot of ways in between. But one way to play Black Wings is just you play all the Black Wing monsters, you center around Black Whirlwind, they're very powerful, continuous spell cards, you back it up with loads of traps. It's a very sort of tempo-focused deck. You summon your monsters, you defend them with traps, you attack, you deal damage, and then you play big finishers like Dark Arm Dragon. And then on the other main popular Blackwing variant is focusing on Vayu. So when Vayu's in the grave, along with another level 5 or higher winged beast Blackwing, you can banish it, banish both of them, and summon a synchro straight from your extra deck without having to synchro summon normally. So this is a really powerful strategy. You combine it with all the other kind of staples of the format. You can use things like Hamster and Raikou, you can use Kaius, you can use Return from the Different Dimensions. So this is a really fun deck. It really encapsulates all of the format for me because you can use all of those powerful cards.
Yeah, it's basically, just a mix of good cards, we could say. It has been my deck of choice for quite a long time, and it's actually the card that is going to be featured on the giant card for the Ultimate Time Wizard this event by you. So I'm sure a lot of players will be, willing to fight it off to get their hands on it. But yeah, I think what, just make the format so popular is that you can really play so many different decks, and decks that actually feel extremely different to play. Because even among these two strategies of Blackwing, you can see one deck, the Alberto's choice, we could say, the regular Blackwing, which is pretty much an archetype deck. You just search for any card that says Blackwing and you just play it into your deck. Obviously, rely on some Winged Beast, synergy with Icarus attack, and then it's good to go. While you can have these kind of mash-up decks where you take a lot of cards that maybe do a +1. We had similar strategies with like Machina cards or Elemental Heroes, and not necessarily it has to be a straightforward deck, but it can be a mix of different ways to push. Because usually games, it's rare to just have a dual finish in one turn. I'd say you really need a specific combination of cards. But I think the biggest elephant in the room outside of the shoe has to be frog decks. In particular, anyone who has been playing the game for a long time know that Treeborn Frog has been one of the OG recurring cards, making all of the monarchs extremely better. But the thing about Time Wizard is that it's not just about delving back into memory, playing the decks that used to exist back in the day. It's also about trying to innovate with the knowledge that now we have. And the last few events have all been won by a new deck, we could say, in this last year, which has been this Frog, Cubo, Fishberg deck, let's say, and I love it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So it centers around Substitoad and Fishbowl Blaster. So Substitoad, you can tribute a monster and summon any frog from your deck. So that's an extremely powerful effect, but I think it might have been not used to its fullest potential in the 2010 format, because the frogs, they're not all super powerful. They all do a little bit. They're all quite fun. But mostly people were just using it to summon a swap frog and send a Treeborn Frog. But some people figured out that with Fishbowl Blaster, you can actually do quite a lot. So it's a tuner you can repeatedly summon from the graveyard by discarding cards. So that gives you lots of monsters you can send. And then you can make some fun synchro plays. So you can make a good Colossal Fighter Armory Arm combo, which is one of the staples of the format. So Marcello said you can't end duels in one turn, but if you play with this deck, you certainly can.
Yeah, definitely. That gives quite a different experience. And I mean, it speaks volumes again on how the format can change. Back in 2010, at least April, which is around the Forbidden Limited list that we play with, it wasn't much of an option. But then the next set that is not legal for this event would release Ronin Toadin, which we all know how powerful that card be, and it immediately changed everything, because the European Championship and the World Championship would be won by a Frog Turbo variant. But I think alongside those, as mentioned, the variety is up there. There are a lot of decks that again have been I think quite on an interesting journey, because if you look at the deck list for YCS Edison from back in 2010, you can look at decks such as Gladiator Beast and Light Swarm, which I have to say in the first few years of Time Wizard, they kind of disappeared, but this year they're back.
Yeah, to my mind, like Gladiator Beast is kind of the breakout. People are trying it, they're experimenting, new different things. At the NAWCQ, we saw someone running Reckless Greed in Gladiator Beast Respite, which is some crazy tech choices that we haven't really seen before. So there's still room for innovation. Even now, people have been playing the format for years after. And yeah, there's still new decks coming up. The breakout perhaps of last year as well, along with the Frog Turbo deck, was the Gigaplant Supervised deck. A super cool combo deck if you love plants. It's kind of similar. You've got that Lone Fire Blossom rather than Substitoad, tribute plants, summon other plants from the deck. Another superpower combo deck.
Yeah, and you did mention Reckless Greed. A lot of these decks share that powerful trap card, which is unlimited in the format. Personally, I'm a bit traumatized still by the last Duel Chronicle we had, where you opened three of it. I thought that was, a different format as it was in Dark Court. But yeah, it's definitely up there. There are a lot of things that you can do. Whether you like trap cards more, there are a lot of trap heavy decks, and I mean, most decks in the format round is 10. But there are also these kind of combo decks that have been tried out. Speaking of, playing monster heavy focus decks, we can maybe hint at the fact that yesterday night we have been playing, against each other commentators with some 2010 decks, and you in particular played a deck that also have had a little bit of success last year, which is basically monsters only deck.
Yeah, it's you play decks called Monster Mash.
Yeah.
Everyone calls it. You play a lot of fun cards. You play the Machina cards, and then there's a couple of cards which give you a big payoff if you're only running monsters. These are cards like Witch of the Black Rose and Gallus the Starbeast. It's a very fun, very aggressive deck.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways to play this format, and yeah, I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and I think just the suggestion, as always, is the more we play Yu-Gi-Oh, the more we can have fun. And if there are different ways to play the game, which we should all be thankful for as a possibility in 2025, I think that's just a huge benefit. And it's great for me to just see some familiar faces, traveling both for the main event and just competing for the ultimate prize, but also other people's which we have not seen maybe for a few years come back, take out their pet decks from back in the day, or even upgrade the rarities with this reprints and quarter century secret rares that we've been seeing in both Bonanza and quarter century Stampede. So I think it's a great innovation from Yu-Gi-Oh, and the great part about it is it never stops. So who knows? We'll see what decks is gonna take WCQ Berlin Ultimate Time Wizard event, and in the future we'll also make sure to stream some of this content for you guys. If you have missed it, on the official YouTube channel, we've actually recorded the Ultimate Time Wizard matches from Birmingham and Bologna, and so there are some content that you can go watch and see how they got to that giant card. So I guess thank you Dom, and thank you guys for being with us. Just keep watching, and we'll be back soon with more content live from Berlin.
Striker? Nope. Ghost Reaper. So we're playing a guess again while we're waiting on the next match. Okay. Odd. Oh, the true name. Ready. The last one. Oh, vote. You little pup-ups. in the box. Ah, okay. All of arrows, right? All of desires. Yep. I was right. There's the old commercial bread. Yeah, it is. That's no commercial bread.
Welcome back, duelists. We're here with round 2 of our European World Championship qualifier. So in front of me, I have yugioh and Philip Muse, who are ready to get this round 2 feature match underway. Gentlemen, let's do a high roll. yugioh, do you want to roll first? That is a 3. Got to do better than a 3. That's higher than a 3. You're going to go first? Okay, Philip is going to go first. I'm going to hand you guys once again over to Basti, Mike, and Leo, who are going to take you through your round 2 feature match. And as Basti says, I hope you're as ready as a kite. Over to you guys.
Ah, we're back finally. I guess it was our commercial break.
For you. I don't even know how to comment on that. With 2 duelists very popular in the German scene, yugioh, of course, he is a world championship participant.
And he's rocking that jersey as well, right?
I love it. It looks so good. Back then with the Labyrinth strategy, this time it's not so much Labyrinth. And Philip, on the other hand, he's one of those duelists who always loves to go for more cooked up creative decks.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, yugioh, of course, he was at Worlds a while back, but still he's performing really well recently too, because he made top cut with Rising Mitsurugi already a while back when the strategy wasn't really that popular even, because I think it was Birmingham where he made top cut with it, which was really impressive. And then also at Dutch Nationals band, he was first out this list completely undefeated. It was super wild poetic file.
Do you have a preference between the 2 players?
I think that the view is by far the more experienced one, but Philip also is a really strong one. I mean, he made me play the Aquatic deck because he beat me so incredibly hard with it in testing that I was like, I have to play this. This is the best deck ever.
And also, Philip has the home turf advantage.
Yeah.
Berlin tournament for him as a Berlin player, which is really exciting. And in general, like, he only has his tops in German events, essentially, like located in Germany. I think the 2 tops at YC's Dortmund, then a German national top or something. So he's ready to deliver this weekend. But let's see what they are able to deliver here. Players are ready, so go to the table now. And I gotta say, I have a little bit of a personal preference here as well in terms of decks, because Philip has brought one of my beloved decks of the last couple of weeks. He brought the Apophis strategy, but he is mixing it up with the Primite cards. And that is something you haven't really seen that much yet. As he said, he likes to cook things up, and that is certainly a well dish that he has put together here. And he starts off with normal summoning the Ether Barrel. And usually when you see that, you would expect, blue eyes probably, but no, there's some other stuff about to come here.
To be honest, I want to see how the 2 engines mixed with each other and what's the synergy behind this.
Oh, and look at that! We're not stretching the most common card, but that is a new card from Duelist Advance. It is Primite Fusion, and as experienced as he is, he still has to take a quick read on this one, because that is not a particularly common card. And now I think we activate the other effect of Lordilo to special summon a normal monster.
Oh, that is so funny.
Another one. The driver is absolute zero draws because the driver wasn't at the one mode you want to have the Cyprian driver in that. That's hilarious.
That is just activate Primate Lordilo to discard 2 hands, 2 cards from your opponent's hand. And at this point, I don't think you want to activate the Primate Fusion.
And I mean, there's a Apophis cards in your deck, so this may as well be very impactful trap cards that we have set there. So we're passing on this, and let's see whether it will be enough, because yugioh is on his recently most favorite strategy again, the Mitsurugi cards paired up with the Rise Yields. And that is pre-preparation of rights. Is that a card you can let resolve? It's tough, but it will resolve in that instance here.
When it resolves, it's really hard. You're just saying losing 2 cards in hand, that is of course a problem. But if you are starting with a non-drolled Mitsurugi engine into a half field that Philip has put up, that's really tough, because these cards tend to generate so much advantage.
I don't know if you even call this a half field, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean you have 2 trap cards maybe.
With only 4 cards remaining to start yugioh's turn, one of them being pre-preparation of rights is massive. That is one of the cards you would want there, one of the cards you need there. And Yo is already resolving his combo here. He revealed the Habakiri, the Sagi is in the graveyard, and that is prayers for him now as well.
I mean, the Fualos, they did the job, right? You discarded 2 of them, but then you let your opponent end on absolutely nothing. So that's huge.
The ritual also resolves. I'm wondering what the set cards are for Philip, because I feel like some of those things you really want to stop. Like if you had a Dominus Purge, you really immediately want to stop the pre-preparation of rites. If you had the Apophis trap card, somehow you also would like to interact with the ritual at the very least. But Philip is not doing anything about all of that, so maybe he doesn't have anything to stop him here.
Because I'm only adding back the ritual. I like the Mitsurugi main deck so much. Just either they're normal summon starters or they're just going to get you. We're adding Futsu here for Aramasa, so really big Raziel package here. Mitsurugi package. I find it very interesting that you can play the deck 2 entirely different ways. They're either minimizing on this Raziel engine, sometimes even just playing 4 cards of the Raziel strategy in the main deck, or sometimes just going for all of the Raziel cards you can find and then just play 1 Murakumo, triple Habakiri, and the main deck nonsense, basically.
So yugioh is definitely taking the Mitsurugi route. You can also tell by his 3 copies of Mitsurugi Ritual in the main deck, for example. That's the maximum you can get, so not really valuing that. But there's infinite impermanence dodged by the prey that was actually known, and that immediately makes Philip considering to pick up his card. Oh, no, wait, we're resolving the Murakumo. I was also too quick on that one.
That happened to me so many times already as well.
Prayers was very well known there in the hat. Destroyed both of these now. Has also got to bring back something, maybe.
Philip doesn't look too happy, but see, you have been very much eager to see the Primite Apophis deck. Why don't you tell us a little bit of what it's supposed to do?
I mean, you are supposed to end on multiple trap cards, as usually the Apophis deck already is doing. Like you have a Statue of the Anguish Pattern, which you usually are going to send through. Then, of course, so we love Seal That Rabbit, and then you have the Apophis traps being the Serpent and the Swamp Deity. And then you back it up even with those very strong trap cards that you can play in this, because this is not only Purge anymore, but in addition to that, also Songs of the Dominators. And I mean, you can play Songs of the Dominators because the Primate engine is not really that impacted by it, and that card is bonkers.
I was also the interactions that you want to bring against Rising into the deck, meaning that I don't know if the Apophis cards are exactly what you want to bring against into games.
And Philip is packing up his cards. He's seen enough. That is too much value, also too much attack, to be honest, here to play in this game. Now, I'm quite curious, because when you're saying you're playing Man of the Mark and you're playing Aether Baron, yes, that is 2 normal summons that you really want to have. And you're not playing a Blue Eyes package. No, the Mausoleum of White that gets you another normal summon.
True.
How are you getting there?
I think there is still ways to somehow maybe go through one of those very, where is he again?
Is it either Duke of Demise or Nico Basilius?
Yeah, it is Nico Basilius, which you are going to use. So that is, we saw him search for Primite Fusion, but very understandably not activating it then, because the Fuvalos, of course, was there. So the double Fuvalos even, so it wasn't even something you would consider to really give your opponent 2 draws there. It felt like the perfect way to just summon the driver from the hand and then see, if he even just had 2 impactful trap cards. Like, imagine he had Dominus Purge for the pre-preparation of rites. You always left with 3 cards, and then you also have maybe Apophis, the Serpent, setting Apophis with Swamp Deity, and then you're kind of good to go, because you can stop another thing that feels like it should be enough, but he didn't really have any of those other good trap cards alongside the things he had there already, so it was rough out there.
When pre-prepare results and you don't get draw, you're in a bad spot, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think also it's kind of interesting that this deck, I feel like that's kind of a weak spot there, because if you are normal summoning Man with the Mark, because he had Anubis the Last Judge in hand, so that was technically possible. I think you're in a decent spot. If your opponent fools you, you have your Temple of the Kings, you can just basically start playing. You set another card to gain so much advantage, search for the Beast of Circuit, and then you give maybe 1 draw, but for the deity, but if you're kind of forced to start with your Primite engine, that sounds like it could become problematic.
I think, yeah, I'm wondering which is the normal summon you want to go for first, but it's probably the Primite things that get you to then also get out the Apophis things. But maybe we can find out now in the second game as players are ready again. Maybe this game is going to go better for Philip and his Apophis Primite strategy. We shall find out. Back to the table we go. Judge. Maybe I knew this. The last judge is going to be in his opening hand here. I'm calling for a judge in that opening hand, please.
I mean, it was there in the last hand, didn't it get to play? Oh, this is looking like a hand already. Oh, wow. This is a hand.
Indeed it is, but let's see. Maybe yugioh has things to counter it. We start off with Treasures of the Kings, and what a field spell it is. I really fell in love with that card because just both effects of it are actually just crazy because you get to immediately on the activation, as we are now going to see, set one of your Apophis trap cards from the deck, and we do of course go for the more powerful one, Apophis the Serpent, because that then is also going to get us through this to the spot eventually. And now we get another set card there. We can also activate the search effect of the field spell too to search for either Man with the Mark, for the Scorpion, or for Anubis, the last judge.
No response to that right side of you, so that's also quite interesting. Maybe we're going to respond to Man with the Mark. And to the end, there he is, the man, the myth, the myth, the legend, the Mark.
And to be honest, you didn't know that the build was an Apophis.
That's right. That's a shocker, for sure. If you are not familiar with that strategy, Man with the Mark is being normal summoned. Ash Blossom there, so normal summon was committed. I see why you waited there. Also, quite interesting. Man with the Mark, it's a card. It's just a level 4 monster with 1,000 attack points. Really hard to out.
It is, but that's all we got. Sets one more card, so we know about Apophis the Serpent, and then there's more, but we shall see whether it is enough to counter this. We activate Habakiri once more. That's so strong of a start for yugioh right away. Is there any way to counter this? We probably got to bring out the Sachi again.
Yeah, this just plays so well around Dominus Purge. It's incredible.
But it doesn't play around. It's taking a rest.
But does your deck play around with taking a rest?
That's what I was wondering.
You really have to rely on this card now. Hope that it carries you through the turn, that you doesn't do anything against it, and then Philip has the ability to go for Apophis the Serpent, set a Swamp Deity, special summon that out as well, and then go for the deity.
What's also cool is the Man with the Mark. It's not that easy to clear because clearly it cannot be destroyed by battle right now because there is Treasures of the Kings on the field. So that makes it pretty tough to deal with. And I mean, we're cutting Philip's deck right now, so I feel like yugioh might have just passed it back over. And that is fantastic news for Philip because that mistake in the rest really putting a mistake into yugioh's plan there, and there is now the Serpent, and that is not a small card in terms of attack points because that is 1,600 away, and when the Swamp Deity, and there it is, comes joining it eventually, that's another 2,000, so we're racking up attack points here quickly.
But I mean, you can't activate the effect of Temple of the Kings.
That's true.
Prohibits you from searching in your turn as well. But I think you can just play around the view, just set up more of these cards. I think a Divine Serpent is worth it.
It's worth it. It's
100%.
You probably go into the battle phase first, just because it's more attack points, but I do agree with you that you probably just pull out one draw, want to go for it. Yep, we are in the battle phase, but it's 4,600, so I think yugioh has more than half his life points wiped out by that battle phase.
That would be crazy versus Melis, huh?
Yeah.
This would be substantial damage already. Even with 3,000 points, they could still play quite a bit, especially for
Philip does agree, goes into his extra deck, and that is a Contact Fusion, as we like to call it, going into Divine Serpent Apophis without any kind of fusion spell, but just using 2 Apophis traps. And now, the cool thing about this card is it gets to set back up to 3 Apophis trap cards from the graveyard, and therefore we have that available again for the next set. And that's so huge, because now we have the Swamp Deity, but the Apophis Serpent ready to bring out another one again, and we get another draw going into the Silhouette Rabbit now as well.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, but you gotta be honest, the Statue of Anguish Patterns is so good. This card isn't out there. There's basically nothing that can play through it. I thought I could play through it.
Another set card, trap cards are back, baby! 5 sets, and Philip ready to stop yugioh once more.
I mean, I thought I could play through it with my X-Ryziel, but it can just not be targeted once you have another face-up trap monster on the field. That is insane.
The statue is really a statue, and in the true meaning of the word.
I'm gonna be honest. You could have prevented this one by just summoning out the Apophysis Serpent immediately and then activating a swamp
No,
deity.
you're fine. You can just activate. You have a swamp deity
At
already.
this point, couple click and not activate again the effect because it's one.
Oh, true, yeah.
Yeah. So we have a swamp deity to chain. Oh, we chain the statue. All right.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That works. The gates, the pre-preparation, but still, you has a decent amount of cards to work with
Yeah,
here.
but Hamakiri doesn't do anything
But
anymore.
that doesn't work anymore, and Philip takes game number 2 with the Primite Apophysis strategy. And again, not a fantastic start, you would say, but Mistaken Arrest is a card that is there for a reason, that a lot of Mouse players are playing. It's even strong enough for him to consider playing it. And I mean, there is where the Primite part of this deck puts in the work, right? When you activate Mistaken Arrest, and then you have the Primite card still running around, and Eva Barrel is coming back, you're probably fine.
Yeah. Yeah, even though if you activate Source of the Dominate Strike, you can't activate effects in the graveyard anymore and in hand.
But when you go first, that's not that
Yeah,
big of a
that's
concern,
true.
because when you just send the Songs of the Dominators anyways.
That is absolutely true. But later on, it just stops one effect of yours or two. Or does Anubis the Last Judge activate in the graveyard actually?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, but Aether Barrel does in the standby
That's
phase.
true.
So that is one downside, but I think you can live with that if you have this phenomenal hand trap. But if you're setting it, you're absolutely right. It doesn't stop
I
you.
think the main mind game that Apophysis card wasn't shown during the first game.
Yeah.
Played a very huge role in game 2.
For sure, I also agree. And I think this deck specifically, the Apophis deck here with the Psy frames in the main deck, they are really, really good now in game 3, even going second against those Mitsurugi strategies, because Psy frame get Delta really made a comeback on the big stage. Like, this card is really, really good.
Was it ever there?
Before. Yeah, it really wasn't there just yet, but it is now. And it's so good against the Mitsurugi cards, just negating Mitsurugi players, mostly negating Mitsurugi Ritual. That is a powerhouse of the card, just destroying it, making your opponent not able to maybe activate the card again or something, and then also having like the dream scenario of having a trap card in the graveyard already. For example, you imperm first, then you Songs of the Dominator Surge Purge as well. Like, how are you going to recover from that? That feels like imperm and Aldega's multi-fake it together, to be honest.
That is true. That was a combination. Sometimes won your game, sometimes it actually didn't. It wasn't always enough. But this, for sure, hand traps that replace themselves and add more hand traps, and then you have those powerful one-card combos that you're having, that like Aether Barrel, like Lottie Load, or just like Man with the Mark, Treasures of the Kings, Anubis the Last Judge, countless cards that will get you where you want to be if uninterrupted. I think our duelists are ready, and we want to be in game 3, so let's go over to the table.
Entering game 3 right now, and I want to see how Primate Apophysis can manage to go second against Rising Mitsurugi, because there is an issue with a lot of traps being drawn.
Yeah, Rising Mitsurugi, that is the deck that basically, if it combos off, it looks like it can't be beat. The full field of the deck is just absolutely insane. And now you're starting with X-Send Aggregator. Philip just gives a thumbs up. That's, I don't think, what he feels in his heart, but he was just like, oh yeah, let's get the combo rolling.
Alright, searches for Node Riser. Interesting.
Oh, I have a sword.
There is the sword already, indeed. So the good thing is when you start with your Riser cards, there's an easy way to also get to your Mitsurugi cards. Of course, with King of the Feral Imps, and therefore Yo has everything you would ever need here to really go for as big of a combo as you would ever
And he
have.
starts checking for hard actually. For example, if he checked for draw, he can continue right now, and probably Fualos also.
Absolutely. There comes the other Q. He immediately went for the King of the Feral Imps, and you can really tell that Yo is so experienced with the strategy.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. He knows every move, and it goes by quickly because he has been doing those combos for quite a while. As I was saying, he was actually on this deck, but not a lot of people were on it. Before actually Hamakiri was even released, he was already summoning Murakumo and YCSs and doing well with it. So he was really on there on the first wave immediately, and he's riding that wave since then.
And at this point, a lot of Mitsurugi cards have the result, which gives a lot of advantage to you, and I think it also gives him a lot of confidence.
If you get to resolve those Mitsuri cuts, your opponent doesn't stop them yet. I feel like this is a little bit like Malice. It has to be stopped immediately with a draw and Lockbird or with Fullers to just keep it in check. A little bit Fullers, not even that impactful. Once you start to resolve your cards, especially in the Ryzen Mitsurugi deck, you're good to go. It's really hard to overcome that field. We haven't seen that at all in the playoffs yesterday. This is what really surprised me because I think that this deck can put up the best field in the game right now by far.
Definitely. At least when it comes down to what is immediately present on the field, right? The scary cards, like it is pulling up multiple monsters really that are immediately scary to you, that also are providing negation to Ryzen cross often now. Then you have, of course, that Murakumo ready to just destroy all cards on your opponent's side of the field. I think the Malice field also is super strong. It just doesn't look as strong immediately, right? But there's so much coming throughout the turn. But when you do see this combo field from this deck here, it is very, very, very much one of the best fields you can imagine.
And you have like 20 cards in hand afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the same with the Malice deck, right? When you resolve your Chessican, even though I don't think we've ever seen a Chessican resolve, it's always a permanence.
Another thumbs up from Philip. Also, Ice Ryziel will be bringing another monster to the field here.
We're playing a little intermediate view, not much to be honest, because Murakumo would still be able to summon itself. And Harakiri would be able to.
Both of them.
No, Murakumo was actually used to summon out the Harakiri from deck. So Murakumo summoned itself back. Yeah, Harakiri hasn't, so you just summon it back, add prayers, and then you still have interruptions. And yeah,
but if this is the last check that you have to take in order to summon Dude Drive and see if Philip has any build,
go for the cards first. Interesting. And I mean, it's overall very, very different on how people approach the actual deck of the Rising strategy or the Rising Mitsurugi strategy rather, because some people opt to go for rank 8s even to have like more linking between the two engines. For example, making sure that 2 level 8 boxes brings you into Ryzen engine sometimes as well by searching 7th Tachyon. That's very popular. It's not something that yugioh is doing. And then there's also, of course, all kind of different options in the level 4 and rank 4 rather department. And even some link monsters here in the deck from yugioh, which aren't necessarily obvious because you're very often just trying to go down the rank 4 route, as we see another rank 4 here with the Eclipse Twins. But there even is IP Masquerade and SP Little Knight in yugioh's extra deck.
Just an extra layer of power on your end field here. We're going to see in Mitsurugi.
Because I love to exist. Maybe change the summon next.
Yeah, that's true. So sometimes when you're starting with your ritual engine, then you can play an IP Masquerade on your field before you activate your normal summon your Ice Ryziel.
Absolutely. That does often enough come up, and I think it's just into certain matchups you also just value that so hard. And there is now also the great purification. The field will look even greater than it usually would be in game number 1.
Oh, but Kiri doesn't come back.
No, Ryziel. Oh yeah, you're right. Now Eclipse Twins will be sent off the Node Ryziel to bring back another monster from the graveyard. And of course Eclipse Twins will now also activate. It's going to bring back the guards maybe? Or the King of the Pharaoh Limbs? What are we going for? I don't think it really matters that much, right? Because you're not going to use it anyhow.
You can activate again the effect of King of the Swamp.
That's true. You can search for another reptile, even though I think you're basically through all of them.
Yeah, you almost don't want to search for anymore because you want to have search targets for Murakumo later on, but still, well, yeah, you may.
I mean, search targets for Murakumo is going to be prayers or something. You could get your follow-up there. I think the only card left in the deck might be Harakiri, to be honest, because we've seen Saji, we have seen Aramasa, and we have seen Kusanagi.
Yeah, you're right.
You also make a less room in the deck, so when you can draw into your hard drops inside the options.
That is true. I just like how the King of the Pharaohs is absolutely chilling on the field. With no business being there.
Detonator puts the Eclipse Twins underneath, so it's protecting itself. Sorter as well. 1 set card, 2 set card, 3 set cards. That is something to worry about for Philip, but I think it marks the end of yugioh's turn at least, so now we can try. What will Philip be able to do here?
Man with the marks the end of his turn. again, man, with the mark on Philip's side, just swing this.
Going second, I guess the full right here is rookie filled with only traps, and
Yeah.
I don't know how Phil can feel right now.
Detonator is already a big problem, has always been for the Apophis deck, the deck based on Marek's performance at the Battle City tournament.
Now, the judge was called Julian. Indeed it was, yeah. And there is the man with the mark. But it really feels like Philip just has all kind of different Apophis cards, and I don't even see any Primite cards really in his hand. And I think that's what in theory makes his deck so strong, that he wants a combination of those two things. Anyway, he actually does have one of the Primite cards, but that's the one that doesn't work on its own, because he did pick up the Drill Beam.
Yeah. And now
And that is all it needed. And there we see the hand puts it onto the table. That is not something you really want to see going second. Just double Swamp Deity is nothing you want to use going second. And therefore, yugioh is on his way to maybe go back to the World Championship, as he's still undefeated in this tournament right now.
I mean, we have just finished round 2, but still very, very close already. Philip, of course, early losses in those tournaments, they are crucial. There is sometimes, of course, there's always like this one story where someone lost an early round and then goes
It's a very unique strategy, to be honest.
That is true, and I'm actually not even that unique, because I've heard of multiple players in this tournament playing it and trusting the strategy, even though we absolutely could not see what it was supposed to do.
Not really. I would have loved to see more, because, I mean, game 2, he won, but also kind of carried by the mistaken rest, we gotta say. And it really never got to show how the combination of the two engines do work together.
They still don't know what the Primate engine is doing there.
I mean, the Drill Beam is strong, as long as you draw it alongside some other Primate guys.
That is true. And we've seen Driver summon from hand. That was amazing.
That was funny, yeah.
And I just...
On the start, felt like a very good move in order to play around with double Fugalus, but as we saw, it's entirely feels turn, and so you could take the win.
Yeah, I mean, if you just resolve all your Mitsurugi cards without a problem, then you don't need 6 cards in hand. You can start with 1, and if that 1 card is pre-preparation of rights and you never get stopped, then that's pretty good.
It will definitely do the trick for sure. So that's interesting. You just mentioned only 2 rounds so far. He is 2-0 at the moment. Couple of players, of course. Most of the ones you saw yesterday already, they are also 2-0 in the tournament, because we, of course, have VIPs here in the tournament. Those are the 16 players from our playoff yesterday, and also all of our national champions from all those different national championships we had in Greece, in Germany, wherever. They have been chilling until now, because they will be joining the action from round 3 on, being on that 2-0 record. What do you think? Is that massively in like changing the way you build your deck, just skipping those first 2 rounds, or is it still the same kind of?
To be honest, when I had my VIP 2 rounds,
flexing, okay. Tell us all about it.
I didn't have to worry about Morocco strategies, meaning I could dodge the cards like Duster or Chronic Cyclones and prepare my deck for more meta decks, since I would expect more in the 2+ area, 2-0 area.
When I had my VIP,
okay guys, good. Alright, go ahead, go on.
When I had my VIP, I still had to play the first round, and I was playing, wow, what a VIP treat. I was playing Rookie, and I lost to Burning Embers because I couldn't play in the first few rounds, so I just had no play at all. Lost to
I love that story.
I just wanted to mention that you're the only person on this table who has that VIP treat.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
I mean, I played the Apophis deck at French National. That was so much fun. That's why I also wanted to have it back on stream, and that's why I enjoy it so much at the moment, because I think it brings something different to the format again, because there is not that many trap-based strategy at the moment, but this deck now is really bringing the traps back. Unfortunately enough, though, sometimes when you go second, drawing those trap cards is not necessarily what you want to do, and which also cost Philip the game sort of there, but you can definitely, it's a combination of both things. It's not only a trap deck, but also has combo elements, I would say, so it's good to see that it's more traps back. Yeah, they are getting you more traps in the end, really. I mean, the fusion is crazy, isn't it? Just setting back those trap cards. Like, the first time I did that, I felt like, I don't know, I was like a puppet magic.
It's also giving you an extra interruption, because when you activate a trap card that becomes a monster, then you actually get to destroy 1 card of the opposing side.
True, very true. Yeah, that's super strong. Wasn't strong enough here for this feature match, but still, yugioh, of course, no opponent to sneeze at because he is absolutely one of the most powerful players we have here in all of Europe. I still remember the moment he qualified for the World Championship with his Labyrinth deck. I think in the top 4 when he just played against Jessica Robinson, the Javier Spammer. That was the quickest game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I've ever seen.
Then the World Championships where he played the featured magic and got dusted on 4. It's
story of his life. Yeah, story of his life. Really, that's insane. But overall, a deck that definitely can make it, right? Is it a deck you think you picked to get to top 4 of this tournament?
Office?
No, the Rising Mitsurugi strategy.
I was gonna say the Apophis, no, but Rising Mitsurugi is definitely one of the top dogs. I think if people are actually adapting from that tournament we've seen yesterday, and they dropped roll Lockbirds in the main deck, the deck just has a field day. But we want to hear more about Yuhu's aunt's day, so let's go over to the analyst.
Thank you, Leo, and yeah, what a match it was. Congratulations on yet another amazing performance on stream. And yeah, I mean, this great start to the day, I'd say. I mean, as good as it gets. And first and foremost, how do you feel being here in Germany and trying to get there once more?
Well, I think it's really nice. It's a journey again since I live here, so it's a pretty short trip here.
Absolutely. And obviously you're rocking that World Championship shirt for this event. We all remember very well your journey to Japan 2 years ago, and I'm sure you'll try your best to get there once more. Although it has been with quite a different strategy, and we've been mentioning, and Seb was going through that you have played this deck for quite a while, even before the latest support was released. What do you like about it?
I think it's like it has so many softs that are all good, so the deck's really consistent, and every start usually does everything, and it plays through so many disruptions.
Absolutely. I mean, and arguably, I mean, Malice might have more recursion later on, but like in terms of explosiveness and ending field, I'd say it's superior by far, if not draw.
Yeah.
So hopefully not draw for you. But yeah, let's just go through what happened in this match. Obviously, you got paired against one of the, not more conventional strategies. And I think in this opening, something quite fun